This is the subway scene as it is right now. And what I want to do is create a desk that's going to sit right here. And this is going to be like the main security desk. And then imagine that there's a chair here at the desk for the main security guard. And on the other side of the desk is another chair for where the person comes in and sits down. And I'm thinking of some kind of a walkway here and maybe like one single lone old suitcase. Anyways, that's the concept I've got now. Maybe with some other technology and some items on the desk. So that's what I'm going to work on right now. So I'm going to start a new scene and I'm going to delete everything. Turn on my move tool. And I will show you the desk that I'm thinking of creating. It's going to be something like this desk. All right. So let's give that a try. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to look from the top and I'm going to bring in a plane. And I'm going to scale this in the X. And that's basically going to be my desk. Okay. I'm going to extrude this up. And we're going to have a top piece right here. And I think right from the very beginning, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a bevel. And I'm going to go for 3 and 0.01. So I'm going to have that piece. And then I'm going to copy this down. I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to look from the bottom. That's Control 7. I'm going to scale this underneath. So I scaled in the X. I'm going to scale in the Y, make it a bit more even. So there'll be a piece underneath. I'll select that bottom face. I'll make it a little bit longer. I'll deal with any faces I need to delete later. So imagine I've got that. And then I want these legs. So I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to select that face, Shift D, and bring it down. And I'm going to start scaling it like this. I'm going to go P to break it out. I'll set the origin of geometry on that thing. Control 7, and we'll scale this in the Y, make it a bit more square, and scale it down. Start bringing it over and imagining what it would be like if this was here. Let's extrude that down. Okay, scale Shift Z. I don't want it that thick. And then push that up. And position it. Still looks a bit thick to me. Scale Shift Z. Okay, with that, like that, my 3D cursor is still in the middle. I should be able to go ahead and add a mirror. Let's take the whole thing now and move it up. Now I'm thinking maybe they need to be thicker. Scale Shift Z and make them a bit bigger. Look from the bottom again and just decide where I want them. It's probably all right. Okay. Now, if that was there, let's get rid of you. Let's come into this and use this to make the drawers. Shift D, bring it down. Let's take this edge and push it in. And grab it. Grab the whole thing, Control L. Let's break it out with P. Scale this in the Y a bit. Let's bring it up and start extruding it down. I want to come down pretty far. I want 3 drawers in there. And I just want to get a sense of, okay, now, there's going to be a lot of different pieces of wood on this. And so I could probably use something like that. And on the back, there's going to be a piece. So let's do that. Shift D. Rotate X90. And then we'll make it a lot thinner, or somewhat thinner anyhow. Imagine that's going to go in there. Scale is in the X. Let's push it up and grab this. And I think I want this to be pretty close to the same height as that. You can snap it and stuff like that. We'll worry about that in a bit. Just get it roughly. Well, we could, I don't know. I don't know what's going to stay, so. Now, let's take this, though, and set the origin actually back to the 3D cursor and mirror it, because I'm going to need a space in between, and I want it bigger or wider than this, so this is going to have to, let's turn that off. A bit narrower so that I have a central drawer here. That might be okay like that. I'm actually going to bring it just inside the legs because I'm going to be cutting this to make drawers. So let's do that now. I'm going to put an edge loop right in the middle and Control B. Pull it out quite far. And I'm going to do that again. But I want to just focus on these. Doesn't have to be perfectly the same. If I cut that in two like that, Control B. Do that. Now it doesn't give me a lot of room on the bottom, and so what I think I'll do is I'm going to take the top section and the bottom section. I'm going to scale that in the Z. Just make it a bit more even. I'll even take these and scale them in the X just a little bit. And then I'm going to take these areas and I'm going to extrude them back in the Z. In the Y, I take it back. In the Y, and I'll pull them back quite far. I can deselect that and have a look at these. That's a little bit better. Okay, let's take this stuff now and pull it down just a bit. Imagine it bolted on there. Let's take one of these faces, Shift D, and pull it out. And let's P to break it out. And look from the front. And I'm gonna actually want to bring this in. Take it back. I'll bring that in. That fits pretty good. So let's put that there and let's extrude out a bit. I could have just probably pulled out a bit. No, we have to extrude out. And then let's E to extrude and Let's go SX, SZ, and extrude out again. Let's have a look at that piece. Now I'm going to grab that back face, pull it. Okay, we'll take this and bring it back into the, roughly the, doesn't have to go all the way. All right, let's focus on that and take this here and ID inset. Maybe we'll scale it a bit more. A bit more in the X. Let's extrude that down. And look from the side and wireframe. And get a similar thickness here, here, and here. That's good enough. So pull these out, imagine as drawers. Okay, that's not too bad. Like, let's see. Now, if I copy these, do they overlap? And is there a little bit of room? There's not much room in between them. And so we'll adjust that. Let's delete this one. Let's look at this one in wireframe. If I scale this in the Z, it still looks okay. Maybe it didn't do too much. Where are my X? No, Z. I'm going to put on the cavity shader. I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to go into individual origins. I'm going to try scaling these in his head. Just a little bit more. I could probably live with that. Okay, so now let's see if we can take one of these, just pull it over here, get rid of the mirror, set the origin of geometry, just bring it like this, scale this in the X. It's not going to be quite like this. Scale in the Z. Just have a start to this thing. This one's pretty narrow. And back in here. Just going to leave that there. Let's come back in here, select that face, Shift D, pull it out, scale it. I'm going to break it out for now. Scale in this head, make a handle. I'm going to extrude it out. Put one edge loop, Control B, come down to about there so I can grab this piece and this piece. Extrude those out, delete those faces, select it all and rotate X 180. I think I'm going to scale this in the Z a bit. And maybe even in the X a bit. Maybe even in the Y a bit. Okay. Let's take the mirror off of this. Let's join that. Let's assume that's okay. Okay. Copy this down. I want to do this piece, and there's this. Maybe I'll do that as a separate piece. Yeah, I think I will. Okay, let's set the origin of geometry on this. Scale that. No one's going to look from down there. All right, I should start. Well, I don't know what I want to delete. Yeah, in terms of faces. I mean, if this goes up, I can certainly delete that face there on top. And I could look at these guys. Probably I could delete that. So I was thinking, hang on a second before I do that. Do I want to move this piece as well? I feel like it's extra and I don't need it. So what I could do is Shift D this guy, P to break it out. And this I'm gonna rotate it. This one's up in this area. A little wider though. Oh. maybe it goes right up to the top. Let's get rid of that face though. Let's hide that. Oh. I just want this piece, and I think I'm going to break it out as well. Is her face there? Yeah. Let's delete that face. Take this and bring it in. I'll bring it up. It's okay if they don't match up perfectly, because it's sort of the way the wood would be. The wood would be. But something's bugging me about this. Maybe it felt like it wasn't in. Or maybe it's just that it's at a lower height than this back piece here, so maybe the back has to come down. Now let's take everything and make sure it's saved and copy it. And come over to the fence scene. Let's take off shadows and cavity for now. And let's paste it and move it right now. Desk. Little tiny desk. This floor, the tiles may be a little bit weird for this, but they are what they are. So let's see if I can just get this to work. And just so it's not right on one of those dividers, you know, where the mortar would be. Now, sizing, maybe a bit bigger. I'm just looking at the chairs here. I could start with that. Let's go with that. So just to have a look. Okay. Chair here for the inspector. A chair on this side, angled out so the person will come and sit down. And a suitcase right there. Okay. Now, these tools are not all that well in proportion to some of this stuff. Understandably. Is that getting too big? But it is what it is. And I'm liking the scene so far. I hope you are too. Okay. Cool. All right. That's going to be it for today. Next time we're going to model the chairs and keep things moving. And I'll get the proportions of things. I think, now maybe that desk is too big and this thing is too big. And we'll just adjust some of that.